She knew when I would die. I found out the date of my death from a banking app, not from tests. Not from threats, from a statement, $742,000, withdrawn from an account that only one other person besides me had access to, my wife. The transaction date was after the date the doctor had just given me. It wasn't a shock, it was confirmation. I had long suspected that Irina was not living with me, but after me, we had been together for 11 years. Not poor. Not happy. Very disciplined. Everything worked in our home, schedules, bills, silence. She never looked at my phone. I never asked where she was. We didn't cheat on each other in small ways, only systematically. When I got sick, she reacted perfectly. No panic. No hysterics. She accompanied me to clinics, wrote down doctors' names, asked the right questions. Her care seemed so precise that it seemed professional. How much time do we have? She asked the doctor, not him, us. I realized, she was counting. After that, I started counting too. Not days, details. Irina changed the passwords for the cloud accounts. She started transferring money in small amounts. She drew up a power of attorney, in case things get worse. She talked more often about a future in which I was not present. When all this is over, after this period, then I will be able to. She never said when you're gone. She was too smart for that. I decided to check how far she had gone. I had a friend, a lawyer with a dirty past and clean hands. We staged a leak of information, as if I had a hidden account abroad. The money was shady, access was difficult, but possible after my death. Irina's reaction was immediate. She didn't ask me, she called someone else. I set up a recording. If he suddenly, earlier than predicted, she said calmly, "Are we ready?" "We are." Here, the story should have gone in the obvious direction: poison, conspiracy, escape. But Irina never did obvious things. She didn't kill. She optimized. 2 weeks later, I found out that they wanted to declare me incapacitated. Medically. Legally. Without fuss. The reason: risk of impulsive decisions against the backdrop of the diagnosis. In other words, I was supposed to die while still alive, and this is where it gets interesting, because I was not a victim. 5 years earlier, I had done something that trusting men don't do. I set up a mirror financial structure. Everything that Irina considered ours legally belonged to the trust. And the trust belonged to me, but only as long as I was deemed sane. If I was declared incapacitated, everything would be blocked, the money would be frozen. Forever. Irina didn't know this. I didn't interfere with the procedure. On the contrary, I helped. I worsened my performance. I played a role. I let her think she was winning. The climax came in court. She sat upright. Composed. In a black suit. A widow in advance. Her lawyer spoke confidently. Mine was silent, and then the judge read out the verdict. I was declared legally incompetent, and at that very moment, all accounts, all assets, all plans for the future were frozen. For the first time, Irina looked at me not as a project, but as a person. "What did you do?" She whispered. I smiled. "For the first time in a long time, sincerely, the same thing you did." I thought ahead. The finale was not loud. There were no arrests. There were no shots. There was silence. A month later, she left. Without money. Without the possibility of appeal. 3 months later, my diagnosis was suddenly found to be incorrect, and 6 months later, I received a message from an unknown number: I would still do it again. Just smarter next time. I didn't reply, because next time, she won't be part of this story.